So, being the fact that you elected your officers are actually going to run today's meeting. They have some information to share with you about what's going on this semester, as well as some things that you have to look forward to, but also some deadlines that you need to hit. So I'm going to let them take it away.
Hi. Hello. So we're going to start with when your hours need to be in.
Okay, so you have to have 30 hours logged by May 5th, and you need to keep track of your own hours, because even if you need to know your hours, Mr. Henderson does not want a million emails on May 4th asking how many hours he has. So make sure you're keeping track of your own hours and have them logged by May 5th. 30 hours.
Okay, hi guys.
Hi, Piper.
Hi, okay, make sure you guys ask before you're signing up, because there have been a lot of no-shows lately, and that's unacceptable, because it's getting it's giving the NJHS a bad rep, and we're supposed to be doing good here, and if you're not showing up for what you signed up, then you have to find a replacement. You cannot unsign up from something that you signed up for. You have to find someone else to take what you signed up for. If you get 2 no-shows, then you are on probation, and then if you get another no-show after that, then you will not be inducted into NJHS at the end of the year.
So pause 1 sec. Guys, probation is nothing more than Mrs. Alexander and myself telling you that, hey, we're aware of this situation. We want to make you aware of the situation too. It doesn't mean that you have anything that you can't do. It just means that if you do that unwanted act again, or if you don't fulfill some sort of deadline, then we have to kick you out. Okay, so that's probation's kind of a mean word, but that's what exactly that means. Continue.
All right, next is behavior. If you get any discipline referral, if you get detention, then we can see all of that. And if this continues to be an issue, then you might not be eligible to be inducted in the NJHS. We don't have a lot of the year left, so let's just keep behaving well and finish the year strong.
Yeah, and then grades. Because the 4.0 scale is a little bit funky, NJHS uses a 12.0 scale, and so you have to maintain a 10 out of 12 on that 12-point scale. If you do not, there will be repercussions. Mr. Henderson will deal with that.
So just to make that clear for what exactly that means, the 4.0 scale, like Carter said, it doesn't really, for us, it really doesn't work, because an A- is a 3.67, a B+ is a 3.33. That's a big jump. And nobody in this building, believe me, we have tried, can explain why. So instead what we do, we take your grades and we assign each grade a number. So if you have an A+, is 12. If you have an A, it's 11, and A- is 10. So you have to maintain that 10.0 average. So what we do is we take your grades from whatever we're looking at, quarter semester, whatever, and we add them up on that number system. And then we divide by 7 to get the average. That number needs to be at or above 10.0 to maintain your membership in Honor Society. That does not mean that you need straight A's, because you can have, for example, advanced classes. Advanced classes are worth a little bit more. In an advanced class, an A+ is worth 14, and then the scale goes down from there. So if you are in advanced classes, it does hold a little bit more weight because the content is advanced. But you can have a couple, a B+, a B here and there, and if you're doing well, better than that A- average in your other classes, that's going to balance out. So just be aware of that when we go to configure your grades. That's what we're looking at. I don't think that's always been quite clear to people. If you're looking at your 4.0 GPA, I hope you can explain it to me, because Robiak's done this for like 1,000 years and he still can't figure it out either. So we use that 10.0 scale just to make it understandable for everyone.
Speaking of all this membership stuff, guess what? 7th graders get to do NJHS 2 now.
Yay!
Yeah, which means sign up if you need hours, considering 7th, you guys know what we were like last year. Mm-hmm. We're the 8th graders now, and yeah, if you need hours, sign up quickly.
They hated you guys.
They got that little
We were those sticky 7th graders. You can't be like
So if you have a community event that you know about that a lot of people needed to volunteer, reach out to one of us or to Mr. Henderson or Mr. Alexander so other people can also get hours through those events. And yeah.
Adding on to that, please make sure that you're not taking hours that you don't need. Because I know some people want to get those, the little prize at the end of the year for getting like the most hours, but now that we have 7th graders, it's going to be kind of inconsiderate to take all the hours that you don't need when they need those hours.
Yeah, so if you need hours, make sure you sign up quick because 7th graders will be in the mix soon.
That's all we have.
With that being said, if you have 17,000 million hours, I love that you're trying to get more, but just to reiterate, there are some people that are sticking with that number of they need 30 hours, and that's totally fine. But that means if we send out things on Remind, they're going to want to sign up to make sure they hit their hours. So if you have your hours, try to hold off on signing up for those hours that we send out on Remind, so that way everyone can get their hours that they need. But if there's something that you want to do outside of what we send out, then feel free to do it. If you want to volunteer with your church, if you want to volunteer with a certain organization outside of school, whatever it may be, then that can happen as well. A couple other things that I want to reiterate, and just kind of some other things that they haven't talked about yet, but they weren't supposed to, so good job. You just made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry, I was excited.
Don't gasp. All right, that train is now over the mountain.
I'm sorry.
Just so you guys are aware, 7th graders will be getting their information next Thursday. So if you know 7th graders who are curious, we are going to be handing out that invitation, and then Thursday of next week. Thursday next week, best, they have their first intro meeting. We'll be going through and describing how the whole process works to them. From that point forward, they will have 2 weeks. 2 weeks to get their applications in. So if you're trying to figure out how long it's going to be before they are fighting you for hours, you are looking at about 3 to 4 weeks before we unleash them and trying to get their hours also. And then once we unleash them, you guys know how you were last year also, that eagerness to go out there and change the world before you guys become bitter, jaded 8th graders. So they're going to be going after those hours then. So if you're trying to get things in, you've got 3 or 4 weeks before they start coming after them.
I can tell you exactly what that date is. That date is February 25th, because their Super Happy Fun Night is the 24th. So just be aware that as soon as the 25th rolls around, the first event after that, they're going to come barreling through the Reminds, and they're going to sign up within like 30 seconds. And by this point, you guys still sign up fast, but you guys take 45 seconds. So by the time you get there, it's all going to be gone. With hours and wanting to email me about hours, guys, if you do not know how many hours you have, then yes, please email me so you can know. However, you should be keeping track of your own hours. You need to be submitting hours as soon as you do them. We've run into some issues where people haven't done that and they've ended up in some hot water because they haven't submitted their hours as soon as they do them. As soon as you get done with an event, the first time you have an iPad or a phone in your hand, you have access to Wi-Fi or data, please enter your hours. If you go on the NJHS website, that language has been updated. So the link is still the exact same. That way we can track your hours for the entire time you're in Honor Society. But the language has now changed to say second semester. So I had several people that were asking me about, oh, where's the link for second semester? That is the same link. So you can still upload your hours to that same place. Just make sure you are doing so. Again, if you are completely unaware of how many hours you have, first of all, if you didn't have enough, we've already probably talked to you, but please email me. But do not wait, please do not wait until May 4th at the end of the day. First of all, it's Star Wars Day. I don't want to talk to you anyway. It's Star Wars Day. But
It's too important.
it's too important, it is, because the 5th, that's when you need to have them. The other thing, which I now remembered, is induction. Guys, induction to NJHS. First of all, you guys are fulfilling the program for NJHS. You are not officially members yet. As soon as you complete all of the requirements for NJHS, you've done your hours, you've maintained your grades, you've gone through and kind of upstood those 5 pillars, then you are inducted into NJHS. There is a ceremony that we have at the end of May. Usually it's within the last couple weeks of school. And then it's kind of like a graduation ceremony, except you're not graduating because you're going to high school, so you still got 4 years. But people dress up. Dr. Thorpe is usually there, and she says a few words. Your officers will say a few words. Other people who are on the faculty council will say a few words, and that's basically how we wrap things up. There are awards for people who go above and beyond. So when it comes to character, when it comes to citizenship, the people in this room who've really kind of taken that to the next level during their time at Fishers Junior High, we will recognize them. Also, the person who does the best grade-wise, they get an award. The person who has the most hours, they get an award. We call that bling, because you actually do get a fancy medal to go along with it, and you can keep it forever and ever and ever until you go to college and then put it in your college dorm room. I don't know, you choose.
Has their name engraved.
It does, and about 87% of the time, we spell your name correctly. That didn't happen a couple years ago, and I'm still pissed about it.
I think it's been said in the past that you need 35 hours, but that was clarified to 30.
30.
You only need 30.
You were lied to.
The index.
It's 30.
Yeah.
Personally, I blame them. The other thing that's coming down the pipeline that we are going to have, which we have not had in several years, is Riley Dance Marathon. So, with Riley Dance Marathon, that is going to be headed by your officers. They're going to make plans and kind of put that together. They're going to work with the Riley Dance Marathon at the high school. But we have not had any sort of dance at all this year. And that's usually something that we do as Fishers Junior High. So we're still trying to pinpoint an exact date, but there will be volunteer opportunities for that. Essentially, that's going to be sponsored by us and possibly Student Council. We're going to talk to them and see if that's a relationship that they want. But that is coming up in the next couple of months. So there will be an actual dance, and it will be because of you. So there you go.
Old stuff.
Throwbacks or anything that you can think of that I'm forgetting.
My biggest thing was the issue from last year is having those hours in. We had kids who rushed to get their hours in at the end of last year and did not make it into Honor Society. Try not to be the kid that does all the work and then at the very end of the finish line fails. Get your hours in sooner rather than later. We had a number of issues last year, so we're going to be cracking down on those a lot more this year. If you're nowhere close to getting your hours, we'll come and talk to you and be like, you're not even close to getting your hours. So we're going to start the process of removing you unless you tell us there's a reason not to. Because if not, we had kids like the weekend before trying to hurry and get hours done. That's not Honor Society. You shouldn't be waiting to the last minute to try and sneak a thing in. So it's one of those things where you're going to need to plan ahead to try and get things done. That was our pet peeve that we learned because that group last year was a bigger issue than we've had forever. You guys are a different group of kids. You guys may not make those choices at all. You may make all brand new bad choices. We don't know. We'll find out. Or maybe you guys are going to be great kids, which is where I'm trying to lean towards. We'll see what happens from there.
Which is honestly what we expect. Speaking of deadlines, the other thing that I did not mention that I want to make sure that you guys know, the deadline for grades. So the grades that we look at for induction. Oh my goodness, former NJHS president, give him a hand. All right, that's enough. Grades are happening. The deadline for grades, as in the grades that we will look at to decide if you are eligible for induction for grades. Those are quarter 3 grades. So when quarter 3 is over, we're going to sit down and we're going to take a look at them. If they meet the mark, then you've met the mark for induction. Now that does not mean that you then do absolutely nothing for quarter 4. Because if you go all the way through junior high and you have straight A's, maybe straight A's and B's, to then quarter 4 you have, 6 F's and 1 D, then no, you are probably not going to be inducted because you completely just fell off. So we will still look at grades, but the cutoff for seeing if you're eligible for that 10.0 scale, unless you completely tank in quarter 4, it is the end of quarter 3. We're doing that early, that way if someone is running into an issue where they're not going to get in, then we can tell them earlier than later, because the issue that we've also run into in the past is we've waited so long to give people the opportunity to get their grades up, and then we wait until maybe if induction's on Thursday, we maybe wait until Tuesday to tell them yes or no, and if we tell them no, then maybe they've invited their whole family to come to induction, and then that's a really awkward conversation. So we're making that a little bit earlier this year to the end of quarter 3. That way you guys can have plenty of notice if you will be eligible for induction. What else?
Bright side, if you know 7th graders who get an invitation this year, be honest. Tell them whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Was being Honor Society a good path that you took down, or was it not? I think a lot of our 7th graders don't know much about Honor Society because of COVID. We weren't able to go out to elementary schools the last several years. We haven't had as many of those fairs that we've done, or those big nights that the elementary schools used to do. And that's when we used to get our Honor Society name out there. In the last several years, we've had a lot of kids who've come in who just don't know about it. So if you know 7th graders and you enjoyed your time in Honor Society, tell them about it. If you didn't enjoy your time about it, tell them that too. One way or the other, just be honest and let them know your thoughts and try to help them out, because the more that's part of that Honor Society leadership is passing along your opinion, passing along what you know, help them out. So we'd appreciate that.
You guys are essentially helping us rebuild this whole program, because when COVID rolled around, it got really, really tough to do Honor Society. So since then, it's almost been kind of a reboot, because we've kind of had some different rule changes, we've had different things that we've tried. So you guys are kind of getting us back to where we were, and we appreciate that. But remember, you need to maintain those expectations that were set forth for you. You cannot go in these hallways and act a fool. You are especially not going to be in the cafeteria and act a fool, because if you do, I will know. If that's going to become an issue, we're going to have a very, very hard conversation, because you are not maintaining what you need to do as a member of Honor Society. And that is something last year we had some problems with, because people started to get crazy. That 8th grade class was, how would you describe that 8th grade class, Brobiak?
Interesting.
They were interesting. Yeah. So, not that you guys aren't interesting, but maybe be good interesting, because they were kind of bad interesting. Make sure that you are being a decent human being, because if you are not being a decent human being, you're going to see me not be a decent human being. And then that gets scary for people involved. So, make sure that is not you. I think we talked about literally everything that we could possibly ever talk about. Stay tuned for info about Riley Dance Marathon. We still haven't ironed out all those details yet. Make sure you're staying on top of ours. Email me if you have issues. If you cannot show up to an event, just reiterating this whole fact right here, you need to try to find someone else who can be in that event. Raise your hand if you are yourself. If you're not raising your hand, that's a really awkward thing. Raise your hand if you are also an NJHS. Those are all people that could possibly take your place at an event. So, if you are unable to make it to an event, please reach out to your fellow members of NJHS and try to find someone else who can do it, because you have basically dedicated your time for that event. You can't undedicate your time. That makes us look incredibly bad as an organization. And we, as a junior high, are pretty much the top NJHS in this district. Riverside's program is questionable at best, and the other ones don't really have an NJHS. So we are it. We have schools that reach out to us all the time. We have other junior highs that reach out to us all the time to provide volunteers. So keep that in mind. It's not just for Fishers Junior High, but it's for Hamilton Southeastern as a district. You guys are recognized because of the work that you do. And that's all I have. Bye, computer.